The moment you decide to change everything is never loud, never dramatic, never surrounded by applause or celebration. It's usually quiet, almost invisible to others but life-changing to you. It happens in the most ordinary seconds. When you wake up tired of your own excuses. When you stare at your reflection and realize you've been holding yourself back. When you sit alone and finally admit that the life you want is not the life you are living. That moment is the spark that separates your past from your future, the dividing line between who you were and who you are going to become. Most people wait for the perfect time, the perfect motivation, the perfect opportunity, not understanding that nothing changes until they make a decision, a real decision. Not a wish, not a hope, not a daydream, but a commitment that no matter how long it takes, no matter how hard it becomes, no matter how many obstacles appear, they will no longer betray themselves by staying the same. Change begins the second you say, "I'm done with this version of me." That sentence holds more power than anything you've spoken in years, because it means you've stopped lying to yourself. And once you've stopped lying to yourself, everything around you starts to shift. You realize that the life you want isn't waiting for luck, it's waiting for your action. And action only starts after a decision. The truth is, you already know what needs to be done. You've known for years. You've felt that pull inside you. A quiet whisper telling you that you're meant for more, that you're capable of more, that you're wasting your potential by staying stuck in the same routines, the same distractions, the same fear-based choices. But you've been scared. Scared of failing, scared of succeeding, scared of what others will think, scared of leaving your old life behind, even though your old life has never brought you peace. You told yourself you weren't ready, that you needed more confidence, more money, more support, more signs from the universe. But deep down, you know that readiness doesn't come before action. Readiness is built through action. Confidence comes after you try, after you fall, after you get back up. And so, the moment you decide to stop waiting, the moment you choose yourself instead of your fears, that is the moment everything changes. Not immediately on the outside, but immediately on the inside. The inside is where your entire life is created. Most people underestimate the power of one decision. They think change requires years, but the truth is, change happens in an instant. It is the commitment afterward that takes years, the actual shift, the internal switch that says, "I refuse to live like this anymore." That happens in one heartbeat. And when it happens, something awakens in you that cannot be put back to sleep. You start seeing things differently. The excuses you used to believe no longer feel convincing. The habits you used to fall into start feeling uncomfortable. The people you used to surround yourself with start revealing their true impact on your life. When you choose growth, your old life becomes too small. You don't fit into your old patterns anymore, because your mind has already stepped into the future version of you. You know you can do more. Once you know it, you can't unknow it. But deciding to change is not the same as changing. A decision is the beginning, but the journey truly starts when you hold yourself accountable. When you wake up on days you don't feel motivated. When you push yourself even when you're tired. When you move forward even after failing. When you silence the voice in your head, telling you to give up. Change requires honesty, discipline, and patience. And it requires you to accept responsibility for your life. You can blame your past, your circumstances, your upbringing, your environment, but none of that will create the future you want. The moment you decide to take responsibility is the moment you take your power back. Everything you want from this life, success, peace, happiness, confidence, strength, comes from the version of you that refuses to quit on yourself. And that version of you is born the moment you decide you deserve more than the life you're currently living. You have to understand that nobody is coming to save you. Nobody is going to knock on your door and hand you your dream life. Nobody is going to push you to become your best self. It's you versus you. Your greatest enemy is the version of you that chooses comfort over growth, that chooses distraction over discipline, that chooses fear over courage. Every day you are in a battle with the person you used to be, and every time you choose discipline, every time you choose effort, every time you choose focus, you become stronger. You become the kind of person who wins not because of talent, but because of consistency. Winning is not a moment, it's a lifestyle. It's built in the small decisions you make every day. The choice to stay focused, to stay committed, to stay hungry. The moment you decide to change everything also requires letting go. Letting go of the old stories you've been telling yourself, stories like, I'm not good enough. I can't do it. It's too late for me. People like me don't succeed. These stories are lies, never yours to begin with. They were planted by fear, by insecurity, by the negativity of others, by moments in your past that hurt you but should have never defined you. You have to release them. You have to replace them with stronger beliefs. I am capable. I am evolving. I deserve success. I can build a new life. Your mind is the engine that drives your journey. If you don't change your beliefs, your life will never change. You cannot build a new future with the same old mindset. Once you make the decision to change, the world around you will test you. Life will throw challenges at you. People will doubt you. Your own mind will try to pull you back into old patterns. This is normal. Transformation is uncomfortable. Growth is painful, but this pain is not a sign that you're on the wrong path. It's a sign that you're shedding the old version of yourself. Everything you want exists on the other side of discomfort. Every breakthrough comes after struggle. Every new level of your life requires a new level of you. So don't run from the challenges, face them. They are shaping you into the person you need to become to hold the success you are chasing, your full attention. When you look back in the future, you'll realize that the toughest moments were the ones that built your strength. The days you pushed yourself when nobody was watching, the sacrifices you made when it felt like nothing was paying off, the silent battles you fought when everyone else was asleep. Those are the moments that forged your character. Will see your success and call you lucky, but they will never understand the decision you made, the discipline you practiced, the nights you doubted yourself but kept going anyway. They will never understand the transformation that began in silence. The moment you decide to change everything is a promise to yourself. A promise that you will honor your potential. A promise that you will stop settling. A promise that you will no longer choose temporary comfort over long-term growth. A promise that you will become the kind of person who follows through. Every day you keep that promise, you build self-respect. The more you respect yourself, the more unstoppable you become. The confidence is not built by telling yourself you're great. It's built by proving to yourself that you can keep your word. When you become the kind of person who trusts their own commitment, there is nothing you cannot achieve. This is the moment. This is the turning point. This is the chapter where your life splits into two timelines. The life you could have lived and the life you decided to create. And the life you create will be defined by your focus, your discipline, your sacrifices, your decisions. You don't need permission. You don't need validation. You don't need applause. Everything you need is already inside you. You just have to choose to use it. Choose to grow. Choose to rise. Choose to become the version of yourself that you've always dreamed of but never believed you could be. This is your moment. The moment you decide to change everything. The moment your new life begins. You are your only competition, and the sooner you understand this truth, the faster your life will begin to change. Most people waste years comparing themselves to others, measuring their worth against someone else's timeline, talent, or success, not realizing that comparison is the fastest way to lose focus, confidence, and direction. The only person you are supposed to compete with is the person you were yesterday. Every day, you wake up with a choice to grow or to stay the same, to move forward or remain stuck, to build yourself or destroy yourself with doubt. When you finally realize that your battle is internal, that your progress has nothing to do with anyone else, you take back your power. You stop chasing approval. You stop worrying about who is ahead or behind you. You stop trying to keep up with people who are running a race that was never meant for you. Life is not a competition against the world. It is a competition against your own excuses, your own fears, and your own limits. Once you start focusing on becoming a better version of yourself, everything else falls into place. Most people look at others' success and think, why not me? They forget that everyone has a different starting point, different challenges, different strengths, and different journeys. You cannot compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. You don't know what they had to overcome, what sacrifices they made, what failures they endured, or how many times they wanted to quit. What you see is the outcome, not the struggle behind it. And if you keep comparing your beginning to someone's middle, you will always feel behind. That feeling steals your motivation, your energy, and your belief in yourself. The truth is, the only thing you should be comparing is who you are right now with who you were yesterday. Did you grow, improve? Did you push yourself? That is what matters. The competition is internal, not external. The moment you stop trying to compete with others, you free yourself from unnecessary pressure. You realize that success is not about speed, it's about direction. It's not about being better than someone else. It's about being better than your past self. You stop seeing others as threats and start seeing them as inspiration. You learn from people without trying to become them. You take the parts that inspire you and use them to build your own path. You understand that your journey is unique. The only person responsible for its outcome is you. When you stop comparing, you gain clarity. And with clarity comes focus. And with focus comes results. But competing with yourself is not easy. It requires honesty. Brutal honesty. You have to admit your weaknesses, your bad habits, your excuses, your patterns, and the ways you hold yourself back. You must recognize when you're being lazy, when you're avoiding discomfort, when you're playing small, and when you're choosing comfort over growth. Most people avoid this kind of honesty because it forces them to confront personal responsibility. Easier to blame circumstances, luck, or other people. But if you blame others, you give them power over your life. If you take responsibility, you take back control. Competing with yourself means refusing to let yesterday's excuses shape today's decisions. It means pushing yourself even when nobody is watching, even when nobody will clap for you, even when progress feels slow. This kind of competition builds character, deep, unshakable character that no one can take away from you. Biggest enemy is often the version of you that chooses comfort. Comfort feels safe, familiar, and easy, but comfort is also the greatest trap. When you choose comfort repeatedly, your dreams slowly die, your goals fade away, and your potential goes unused. Growth requires discomfort. Improvement requires discipline. Progress requires pushing past what is easy. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you win against your old self. Every time you say no to distraction, no to fear, no to laziness, you become more powerful. This is how you build momentum, one choice at a time. The small choices build the big results. The internal victories create the external success. There will be days when you feel unmotivated, days when you don't want to try, days when your mind tells you to give up. This is normal. Motivation comes and goes, but competing with yourself means showing up even when you don't feel like it. It means doing the work, not because you're excited, because it's necessary. Winners do not rely on motivation, they rely on discipline. They understand that consistency beats intensity. Small efforts repeated daily create massive transformations. If you only work when you feel good, you will never win of attention, but if you work even when you don't want to, you will surpass every version of yourself you've ever been. You will also face your own fears, fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being enough. These fears live inside everyone. The difference is, successful people don't let fear stop them, they act despite fear. They take risks, they try new things, they push themselves into uncomfortable situations because they know that fear is not a barrier. It's a signal, shows you what you need to overcome next. Fear shows you where you need to grow. Fear shows you the limits of your comfort zone. The moment you push past fear, you become stronger, wiser, and more confident. Every time you defeat a fear, you defeat a weaker version of yourself. Part of competing with yourself also means accepting failure as part of the process. Failure does not mean you are worthless or incapable. Failure means you are trying, learning, and evolving. Every time you fail, you receive feedback, feedback that helps you improve. People who avoid failure never grow, because they never try anything challenging. People who embrace failure grow quickly, because they take more risks, learn more lessons, and build resilience. Failure is not the enemy, quitting is. As long as you keep going, you are still in the race. As long as you continue improving, you are still winning. Progress is victory, even when it feels slow. Another part of this journey is patience. Competing with yourself requires long-term thinking. You must understand that true transformation does not happen overnight. It happens through daily effort, accumulated over time. It happens through quiet repetition, not instant results. You cannot rush greatness. The world today teaches people to want quick success, quick fame, quick money, quick results. But anything achieved quickly can be lost quickly. Real success is built slowly, patient step by patient step. And while others may sprint ahead for a moment, their speed doesn't matter if they lack endurance. You are not in a race against them. You are in a marathon against your old self. The version of you who stays consistent will always win in the long run. You must also protect your focus. The world is full of noise, opinions, negativity, distractions, comparisons. If you let those things into your mind, you weaken yourself. You must learn to block out the noise, your own world inside your mind. Build your own standards. Build your own vision. When you know where you're going, other people's opinions become irrelevant. When you know who you're becoming, you stop caring who doubts you. Focus is a superpower. The more you focus on yourself, the faster you grow. The final truth is this: nobody can beat you when you compete with yourself. Because the only goal is improvement. As long as you're growing, you're winning. As long as you're trying, you're winning. As long as you're moving forward, you're winning. You don't need to be the best in the world. You just need to be the best version of you. Improve 1% every day. Within a year you become 37 times better. That is the power of competing with yourself. Small improvements multiplied over time create unstoppable transformation. At the end of your life, you won't be thinking about the people you compared yourself to. You won't remember who was ahead of you or behind you. Attention. You will remember the moments when you pushed yourself, when you grew beyond your limits, when you became someone you were proud of. You will remember the internal battle more than the external noise. Because your greatest victory will always be the person you became through the process. You are your only competition. The world cannot stop you. People cannot stop you. Circumstances cannot stop you. The only thing that can stop you is the weaker version of yourself that you choose not to fight. So start fighting. Start improving. Start challenging everything you believe about your limits. Start becoming the kind of person who wakes up each day with one goal: to be better than yesterday. When you live like that, nothing can stop your growth. Nothing can stop your success. Nothing can stop your rise. The only competition that matters is the one you have with yourself. And if you win that battle every day, you will win every other battle in life. Discipline is the bridge to your new life, the invisible force that separates dreams from reality, desires from results, and intentions from accomplishments. Most people want success, they want confidence, they want freedom, they want a better life, but they fail to understand that wanting is the easiest part. Anyone can want. Wanting never changed a single life. Only discipline does. Discipline is what turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers. It is the ability to do what needs to be done even when you don't feel like doing it. It is the ability to push yourself even when the motivation is gone. It is the ability to stay committed long after the excitement has faded. Motivation is temporary, emotional, and inconsistent. Discipline is strong, stable, and permanent. The moment you learn to rely on discipline instead of emotion, your entire life transforms. Because your success will no longer depend on how you feel, will depend on who you are becoming. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect, because it shows that you are willing to do what is necessary to honor your goals, your dreams, and your potential. There will always be days when you wake up tired, days when you feel unmotivated, days when your mind tries to convince you to skip the work, to relax, push your responsibilities aside. This is when discipline becomes your strongest weapon. Discipline tells you to show up anyway. Discipline tells you that your feelings do not get to decide your future. Discipline tells you that excuses are the language of the weak, are not weak. Every day you choose discipline, you strengthen the version of yourself that can win. Every day you choose excuses, strengthen the version of yourself that will lose. You are in a constant battle with your own mind. Discipline is the sword that allows you to conquer laziness, fear, doubt, distraction, and procrastination. Without discipline, always fall back into comfortable habits. With discipline, you build habits that elevate you beyond anything you've ever imagined. Discipline is not punishment, it is freedom. Most people misunderstand this. They think discipline restricts them, limits them, or traps them in a routine. The lack of discipline is what traps people. Without discipline, you are controlled by your impulses, controlled by your moods, controlled by your cravings, controlled by temporary satisfaction. You become a slave to comfort. But with discipline, you regain power over yourself. You choose long-term growth over short-term pleasure. You choose direction over distraction. You choose purpose over comfort. That is real freedom. The freedom to create the life you want, not the life your impulses dictate. Discipline is the path to self-control, and self-control is the foundation of all success. Once you master your mind, no obstacle can defeat you, because most obstacles exist only in your mind. To build discipline, you must start with small actions. Most people overwhelm themselves by trying to change everything at once. Discipline does not grow from dramatic changes. It grows from consistency. One small promise kept, one task completed, one goal achieved. When you prove to yourself that you can follow through, you begin building self-trust. And self-trust is the foundation of discipline. The more you trust yourself, the more you believe in your ability to show up, the more unstoppable you become. Often think that discipline requires a huge burst of strength, but in reality, discipline is built one small step at a time. Wake up slightly earlier. Say no to one distraction. Complete one task you've been avoiding. Push yourself a little harder today than you did yesterday. These small victories accumulate into massive transformation. You must also understand that discipline requires sacrifice. To become who you want to be, let go of who you were. You must sacrifice comfort, distractions, bad habits, toxic people, and sometimes even old versions of yourself. You cannot hold on to your old life and expect a new one to appear. Your future demands a price, and that price is discipline. Discipline means doing the work when others are resting. Discipline means staying focused when others are entertained. Discipline means saying no when everyone else is saying yes. And the moment you embrace this sacrifice, you become part of the small percentage of people who actually achieve their dreams. Because most people are not willing to give up anything. They want success without effort, growth without struggle, and results without consistency. But life does not work that way. You cannot cheat discipline. You cannot skip the process. You cannot lie your way to success. You must pay the price. And discipline is the currency. The beautiful thing is that discipline gets easier the more you practice it. In the beginning it feels difficult, heavy, and unnatural because your mind is used to the path of least resistance. Your brain tries to protect you from discomfort, telling you to rest, to relax, procrastinate. But once you push past that initial resistance, discipline becomes your new normal. Your mind adapts. Your body adapts. Your habits change. Suddenly, the things that once felt difficult become effortless. What once felt impossible becomes part of your identity. This is the true power of discipline. It not only changes your actions, it rewires your identity. Stop telling yourself, "I can't," and you start living as someone who does. You stop believing you are weak, and you start proving you are strong. You stop hoping for a better life, and you start creating one. There is a version of you that is powerful, focused, unstoppable, capable of achieving greatness. Discipline is the key that unlocks that version. Without discipline, that version of you remains trapped beneath excuses and temporary pleasures. But with discipline, that version comes alive. You begin to move with purpose. You begin to think differently. You begin to carry yourself differently. You begin making decisions that align with your goals, not your moods. You begin to feel proud of yourself, not disappointed. Confidence grows naturally when discipline becomes your lifestyle, because confidence is not built through affirmations. It is built through actions. You feel confident when you know you can rely on yourself to do what needs to be done. And when you feel confident, you stop fearing failure because you trust your ability to recover, adapt, and grow. But discipline also requires patience. You cannot expect instant results. You cannot expect your life to change in a week. The world has trained people to crave quick wins, overnight success, and rapid transformation. The truth is, anything that comes fast rarely lasts. Discipline teaches you the value of gradual progress. It teaches you to appreciate the process. It teaches you that the journey is just as important as the destination. Every repetition builds strength. Every day of focus builds momentum. Every moment of sacrifice builds resilience. And as you accumulate these moments, you begin to transform from the inside out. You begin to see changes not because you forced them, but because you earned them. Every time you try to build discipline, you will face resistance, not only from your own mind but also from others. Some people will misunderstand you. They will judge you for being focused, for saying no, choosing yourself. They may accuse you of being distant, obsessed, serious, or even selfish. But remember this: discipline requires prioritizing your growth, and not everyone will understand your vision. Your goals are not meant to make sense to everyone. Your dreams were given to you, not them. Do not let the opinions of the undisciplined distract you from becoming the person you want to be. Those who criticize your discipline are the same people who will later admire your success. Stay focused. Stay committed. Discipline will also test your emotional strength. There will be moments when progress feels slow, when setbacks hit you hard, when temptation seems stronger than your goals, when you question whether all this effort is worth it. This is when the old version of you will try to pull you back into old habits. But this is also when you must remind yourself why you started. Remember the pain of staying the same. Remember the disappointment you felt when you broke promises to yourself. Remember the frustration of watching your potential go unused. Let that pain fuel your discipline. Let it remind you that going back is not an option. Future is too important. Your dreams are too meaningful. You owe it to yourself to keep going. In time, discipline becomes a source of pride, becomes your superpower. You begin to realize that the people who rely on motivation will never understand the strength of someone who relies on discipline. Motivation gives you a spark, discipline builds your life. Motivation fades, discipline remains. Motivation gets you started, discipline keeps you going. When you reach the point where discipline becomes automatic, your life enters a new level. You achieve things most people only dream of. You become someone people admire. You look in the mirror and feel a sense of respect for yourself that no one can give you and no one can take away. Discipline is not the goal, it is the bridge. It connects where you are to where you want to be. It connects your dreams to your achievements. It connects the weak version of you to the strong version waiting to emerge. Everything you want is on the other side of discipline. Success story is written with discipline. Every transformation is fueled by discipline. Every winner is built through discipline. If you want a new life, you must build the bridge. That bridge is discipline. And the moment you choose it, truly choose it, your new life begins. Your mind creates your reality, and until you understand the unbelievable power your thoughts hold, you will continue living far below your true potential. Everything you see, everything you attract, everything you chase, everything you believe you deserve, begins inside your mind long before it becomes part of your physical life. Most people underestimate the mind because they cannot touch it. They cannot measure it. They cannot physically see it working, but it shapes every decision, every action, and every outcome. Your mind is a silent architect, constantly building the world you walk through, shaping the opportunities you notice and the ones you ignore, guiding you towards success or pushing you deeper into failure. Every habit, every reaction, every belief, every fear, dream, they all start in your mind. The problem is that most people let their minds work against them rather than for them. They allow fear to take control, doubt to take root, and negativity to poison their vision. They live inside mental prisons built by their past experiences, limiting beliefs, and perceived weaknesses. They don't realize they could break free at any moment simply by changing their thinking. When you train your mind, you train your life. When you master your mind, you master your future. Your thoughts are powerful because they influence how you feel, and how you feel influences how you act. If your thoughts are weak, fearful, and negative, your actions will be weak, fearful, and negative. If your thoughts are strong, confident, and determined, your actions will follow that same strength. Your life is nothing more than the external reflection of your internal world. That means if you want a better life, you must first build a better mind. You cannot think like a victim and live like a victor. You cannot think small and live big. You cannot think of yourself as powerless and expect powerful results. The world will only give you what your mind believes you deserve. When you think poorly of yourself, when you doubt your worth, when you focus on your weaknesses, you shrink your potential until your entire life becomes a small, uncomfortable box you force yourself to live inside. The moment your thinking expands, your life expands with it. The moment you change your beliefs, your reality shifts. The moment you decide that you deserve more, your mind begins to search for ways to make more possible. The mind is always listening to the things you say to yourself. When you tell yourself, "I can't," your mind accepts that as truth and stops trying. When you tell yourself, "I'm not good enough," your mind searches for evidence to support that belief. When you tell yourself, "I'm going to fail," you sabotage yourself before you even begin. But the opposite is also true. When you tell yourself, "I can do this," your mind looks for ways to help you succeed. When you tell yourself, "I am capable," your confidence starts to rise. When you tell yourself, "I will find a way," suddenly solutions appear where problems once lived. Your thoughts become instructions to your brain. Your brain does everything in its power to fulfill those instructions. That is why it is so important to guard your thoughts, because your thoughts are shaping your destiny in ways you cannot even imagine. Most people spend their lives replaying their past inside their minds. Relive their mistakes, their heartbreaks, their failures, their disappointments. They keep thinking about what went wrong instead of what could go right. They allow old pain to become their present reality, even though the past is gone and does not exist anymore. What exists is what you choose to think about today. If you keep bringing the past into your present, you ruin your future. The mind cannot tell the difference between something that is happening and something you vividly imagine happening. That is why memories hurt. They feel real to your brain. But this same truth can be used in your favor. If you imagine success repeatedly, if you visualize your goals clearly, if you mentally rehearse the life you want, your brain begins to believe that it is already possible for you. When your brain believes something is possible, it begins to operate in ways that make it real. That is the power of visualization, the power of belief, power of mental creation. But the mind does not change on its own. You must train it intentionally. You must be conscious of what you allow inside. You must filter what you listen to, what you watch, who you surround yourself with, and what you think about. Piece of information you consume influences your mindset. Negative people create negative minds. Toxic environments create toxic thoughts. Fearful conversations create fearful beliefs, but empowering words create empowered minds. Strong influences create strong beliefs. Positive environments create positive thinking. You are not just the product of your environment, you are the product of the things you mentally accept as truth. And you always have the power to choose what becomes truth inside your mind. Your mind is also shaped by your habits. What you repeat becomes who you are. If you constantly tell yourself you can't, your mind will believe it. Constantly procrastinate, your mind will normalize it. If you constantly escape discomfort, your mind will fear challenges. But if you constantly push yourself, your mind becomes stronger. If you constantly expose yourself to difficult things, your mind becomes resilient. You constantly practice discipline, your mind becomes disciplined too. The mind adapts to whatever you feed it. The same way a muscle grows when you stress it, your mind grows when you challenge it. But unlike your body, your mind grows faster, deeper, and more permanently. A single shift in perspective can change the entire direction of your life. Thoughts alone are not enough. You must combine them with action. But action without the right mindset is weak and inconsistent. Belief system fuels your behavior. If you believe something is impossible, you won't even try. If you believe success is out of reach, you won't take the steps needed to reach it. If you believe you are destined to fail, you will sabotage yourself every time. But if you believe that success is possible, you begin moving toward it naturally. If you believe that you deserve better, you stop settling for less. You believe that you can grow, you start doing things that help you grow. Your behavior follows your beliefs. Your results follow your behavior. That is why the mind must be trained before you can transform your life. The mind is also the battlefield where fear and courage fight daily. Tries to convince you to stay small, to stay quiet, to stay comfortable, to stay hidden. Fear whispers that you are not ready, not capable, not strong enough, not talented enough. Fear is persuasive because it speaks in your own voice, making you believe its lies. But courage also lives inside you. Courage tells you to take the step even when you're afraid, to trust yourself even when you doubt, try again even when you've failed, to move forward even when the path feels uncertain. Courage does not erase fear, it leads you through it. Courage is not louder than fear, it simply speaks truth with more conviction. You cannot eliminate fear, but you can train your mind not to obey it. The more you act despite fear, the weaker fear becomes. The more you retreat because of fear, the stronger fear becomes. Fear feeds off your surrender. Courage grows from your resistance. To create the reality you want, you must first become the person who deserves it. And that transformation happens in your mind long before it happens in your actions. You must think like the person you want to become. You must believe like the person you want to become. You must visualize like the person you want to become. When you upgrade your mind, your life will upgrade automatically. You cannot think like the old you and expect the new you to appear. You cannot think like your past and expect a different future. You cannot think like a defeated person and expect victory. Your reality changes the moment your thinking changes. Eventually, you will realize that the mind is the strongest tool you possess. It can build you or destroy you, empower you or limit you, free you or imprison you. When you learn to control it, everything in your life becomes easier, decisions become clearer, challenges become manageable, goals become reachable, doubt becomes quiet, confidence becomes natural, focus becomes sharp, your full attention. Life begins to feel like something you are creating rather than something that is happening to you. That is the power of a trained mind, a mind that works for you, not against you. A mind that shapes your future instead of repeating your past. A mind that leads you toward your highest potential instead of trapping you in your weakest patterns. Remember, this always your mind creates your reality, so protect it, nourish it, strengthen it, and use it wisely. It is the birthplace of every success you will ever achieve. Begins with a truth that every person eventually discovers, but only a few truly accept. Your habits quietly build the life you will one day live, whether you are aware of them or not. They are the invisible architects of your destiny, shaping your days, your thoughts, and ultimately your identity. Most people think success is about one big moment, a dramatic breakthrough, or a lucky chance. But success is almost always a result of small decisions repeated over and over again. Decisions so small they feel insignificant. One day you look back and realize they built everything you have. Your habits are like seeds. They don't look powerful when you plant them, but given enough time and consistency, they grow into forests that either protect you or trap you. The difficult part is that bad habits grow faster because they offer instant comfort, while good habits grow slowly because they demand discipline, patience, sacrifice. Yet it is the slow-growing habits, the ones that feel heavy and uncomfortable, that set you free and take you closer to the life you were meant to live. Your full attention. Many people don't change because they underestimate how much their daily routines matter. They think missing one day doesn't matter. Scrolling for one more hour doesn't matter. Skipping one workout doesn't matter. Sleeping late one more night doesn't matter. But everything matters because all of those small decisions add up. Life is not shaped by what you do occasionally. It is shaped by what you do consistently. You want to change your life. You don't start by changing your goals. You start by changing your habits. A goal gives direction, but habits determine whether you arrive. Goals are the map, but habits are the footsteps, and most people keep buying new maps while refusing to take the steps. They wait for motivation, not understanding that discipline is what leads to motivation, not the other way around. When you discipline yourself to do something every day, whether you feel like it or not, you activate the true power of habits. They rewire your brain, reshape your identity, and remove the emotional resistance that once held you back. The hardest part of building a habit is the beginning, because in the beginning your mind fights you. It doesn't want discomfort, effort, or new patterns. It wants what's easy, familiar, instantly rewarding. But the moment you push through that resistance long enough, something changes inside you. You stop negotiating with yourself. You no longer wake up asking, "Do I feel like doing this today?" You wake up and do it, because you've become the kind of person who does. Your habits become your identity, and your identity becomes your destiny. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you strengthen your future. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, even a small one, you build self-respect. And nothing is more powerful than a person who respects themselves enough to follow through. Many people think they lack motivation, but what they really lack are habits that support the life they want. They try to rely on motivation, which is unreliable, unstable, and temporary. Motivation can change depending on your mood, your environment, or even the weather. But habits don't change, carry you even on the days when you feel weak or tired or uninspired. Habits protect you from your own emotions, and emotions are the biggest obstacle to success. The days you feel the least like doing the work are the days the habit saves you. Once something becomes automatic, effort becomes irrelevant. Think about brushing your teeth. You don't skip it just because you don't feel motivated that day. You just do it. Imagine if your most important goals were supported by habits that strong. Imagine if your discipline was automatic, your focus was automatic, your growth was automatic. That is what habits do, they make success ordinary. But before they become ordinary, they feel like a burden. You will not enjoy forming good habits in the beginning, because you are fighting years of old patterns, old comfort, and old thinking. Your brain is wired to conserve energy and avoid pain, and good habits require both energy and temporary discomfort. But discomfort is not your enemy. It is the doorway to transformation. Every time you choose the harder path, you stretch your limits, strengthen your willpower, and expand what you believe you are capable of. And once you push past the first stage, where everything feels heavy and slow, you enter the second stage, momentum. Momentum is the phase where the discipline becomes easier, your progress becomes visible, and you start to feel proud of yourself. You wake up with purpose instead of dread. You start trusting your future instead of fearing it. You feel in control rather than overwhelmed. And once momentum kicks in, every habit you built starts paying you back. The gym gives you strength, confidence, energy. Reading daily gives you knowledge, perspective, and clarity. Working on your craft gives you mastery and opportunity. Well gives you a clear mind and a strong body. Saving money gives you freedom and stability. All of these habits build a life where winning becomes the natural outcome. But habits do more than shape your success. They shape your self-image. Every habit you practice tells your subconscious who you are. When you repeatedly choose good habits, your mind starts to believe you are a disciplined person, a focused person, a strong person. Once your identity changes, the habits become effortless. You are no longer forcing yourself. You are simply being who you believe you are. And this is why habits are more powerful than motivation. Motivation tries to change what you do, but habits change who you are. If you truly want to win, you must stop waiting for inspiration and start designing your days. Your future is hidden in your daily routine. You can predict where someone will be in 5 years just by looking at their habits today. A person who complains every day, wastes hours scrolling, avoids challenges, and always chooses comfort will end up frustrated and stuck. A person who reads, practices, learns, trains, saves, builds, focuses every day will end up strong, confident, and successful. Life is not random. Life is a reflection of your habits. You don't get what you want, you get what you repeatedly practice. And the beautiful part is you don't need to be perfect. You only need to be consistent. You don't need to change everything overnight. You just need to start small and never stop. Tiny changes, repeated over time, create massive transformation. A 1% improvement every day becomes a completely different life in a year. So instead of trying to change your life in one big step, one small habit today, one act of discipline, one decision that your future self will thank you for. Focus on the habit, not the outcome. Focus on building the person, not chasing the results. Because when you build the right habits, the results have no choice. They follow you. The truth is simple: your habits are the blueprint of your destiny. If you want a different life, Build different habits. If you want to win, design your daily actions around the person you want to become. Every day, you have the power to reinforce your future or repeat your past. Choose wisely. Because your habits are choosing for you even when you're not thinking. And the moment you take control of them, you take control of everything. Unfolds with a quiet truth that many people ignore for years because the world around them is too loud, too demanding, filled with opinions and expectations that drown the sound of their own inner voice. In a world where everyone has something to say about your life, your choices, your dreams, and your pace, the most powerful thing you can learn is how to silence the noise and listen deeply to yourself. Most people don't actually fail because they are incapable. They fail because they are distracted, overwhelmed by outside voices that confuse their direction. They spend so much time comparing themselves to others that they forget who they really are. They measure their progress by someone else's timeline. They let negative comments shape their confidence. They let the doubts of small-minded people shrink their potential. They allow society's pressure to push them into a life that doesn't belong to them. Without realizing it, they lose the ability to hear themselves. Your inner voice is the guide that knows your strengths, your weaknesses, your purpose, pace, and your path better than anyone else. But that voice is quiet. It doesn't shout. It doesn't fight for attention. It speaks softly, in moments of silence, reflection, or solitude. But most people are never silent long enough to hear it. They wake up to noise, move through their day surrounded by noise, and fall asleep with noise still playing in their minds. Your full attention, the world's opinions become louder than their intuition, and eventually, they start believing that other people know what's best for them. But nobody can live your life except you. Nobody can feel your dreams the way you feel them. Nobody can understand your calling the way your heart understands it. And nobody can guide you like your own inner voice can. That is why learning to silence the noise is not a luxury. It is a necessity for anyone who wants to win in life. The noise you face does not always come from your enemies. Often, it comes from people who mean well but don't understand your vision. They might tell you to take the safe route, to slow down, to be realistic, to stop trying so hard. They might project their fears onto you, because they never had the courage to try for themselves. Their limitations are not your truth, but if you listen to them long enough, their fears become your fears, and their doubts become your doubts. Start abandoning dreams that were once clear and powerful inside you. You start shrinking yourself so others feel comfortable. You start playing small because you think you don't deserve more. This is what happens when outside noise becomes louder than your inner truth. Silence is not just the absence of sound, it is the presence of clarity. When you allow yourself to step back from the world, to disconnect from external expectations, you give yourself the space to reconnect with who you truly are. Spending time alone is not loneliness, self-rebuilding. It is in solitude where you gain clarity about what you want, what you value, what you fear, and what you're willing to fight for. When you sit with your thoughts without distraction, you discover what matters to you, not what matters to others. And once you know what matters to you, decisions become easier because you no longer choose based on pressure or fear. You choose based on truth. Listening to your own voice means trusting yourself enough to follow your heart, even when others disagree, even when the path is unclear, when the world tells you to take a different direction. Your intuition is not random. It is built from your experiences, your observations, your strengths, your passions, and your deepest desires. It knows what feels right for you. But trusting yourself is a skill that must be developed. It begins with small decisions. Choosing your own path instead of pleasing others, saying no when your heart knows something isn't right, a step forward even when you're unsure. Every time you honor your inner voice, it grows stronger. Every time you ignore it, it weakens. And eventually, if you silence yourself long enough, you become lost, disconnected from your purpose, living a life that doesn't feel like your own. This is why so many people feel empty, even if they appear successful on the outside. They built a life designed to impress others, not fulfill themselves. They chased achievements that didn't matter to them. They followed paths chosen for them by someone else. But real success is not about applause, approval, or validation. It is about living in alignment with your truth. When you follow your inner voice, you stop competing with others because your path becomes yours alone. You stop seeking validation because you start trusting your internal compass. You stop needing permission because you realize your life belongs to you. Distracting noise can also come from your own mind. Negative self-talk, fear, insecurity, overthinking, and self-doubt create internal noise that is often louder than the world around you. You may tell yourself you're not good enough, not smart enough, not capable enough, not ready enough. You may torture yourself with imaginary failures before you even begin. You may convince yourself that you're too late, too behind, too imperfect to succeed. These thoughts become a cage that keeps you trapped. But here is the truth your mind learns from repetition. If you constantly feed it negativity, doubt, and fear, it will believe those things. But if you begin feeding it courage, belief, and determination, it will learn that too. Your inner voice becomes stronger when you speak to yourself with honesty and power, not cruelty. You don't have to lie to yourself. You just have to stop attacking yourself. Confidence does not come from being perfect. It comes from knowing you will show up for yourself despite your imperfections. When you silence the internal noise of self-doubt, you give space for clarity, creativity, and courage to grow. To hear your inner voice clearly, you must remove distractions that steal your time and weaken your focus. Social media, drama, negative people, useless comparisons, and time-wasting habits all create mental clutter. They drown your clarity with noise that adds no value to your life, your full attention. Imagine trying to listen to a beautiful song while standing in the middle of chaos. You wouldn't hear it. That is what happens when your mind is full of noise. But when you eliminate distractions, when you simplify your environment, protect your mental space, your inner voice becomes crystal clear. Creativity flows. Ideas come naturally. Confidence rises. Your direction becomes obvious. Protecting your peace becomes as important as protecting your goals. You begin to realize that not everyone deserves access to your energy. Not every opinion deserves your attention. Not every invitation deserves your time. You start choosing quality over quantity, depth over noise, purpose over distraction. Listening to yourself also means being honest about what you want and what you don't want. Many people stay stuck because they refuse to admit their true desires. They are afraid of disappointing others, afraid of being judged, afraid of choosing a path that no one else understands. But your truth won't go away just because you ignore it. The longer you suppress your real desires, the more restless your soul becomes. You might convince your mind to settle, but your heart will always know what you abandoned. That inner conflict will show up as stress, frustration, emptiness, or a constant feeling that something is missing. The cure is simple but difficult. You must listen to yourself, even when it scares you. You must honor your dreams, even when others don't believe in them. You must pursue what sets your soul on fire, even if the world calls you unrealistic. Because at the end of your life, the regret of ignoring yourself will be far heavier than any failure you may experience along the way. As you strengthen the ability to hear your inner voice, unbreakable, you no longer depend on validation. You no longer fear judgment. You no longer panic when people misunderstand you. Peace becomes stable. Your confidence becomes internal. Your path becomes clear. And the noise around you loses its power. Realize that people will always have something to say, but their words do not build your life, you do. Their doubts do not define your future. You do. Their opinions do not shape your destiny. You do. Silence is not emptiness, it is strength. It is the space where your future is designed, and when you learn to silence the noise and listen to yourself, you become unstoppable, because the strongest guidance comes not from the world outside, but from the truth within you. Begins with the simple but uncomfortable truth that comfort is a silent trap, a soft prison that feels warm and familiar, yet slowly destroys your potential without you noticing. Most people don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they never push themselves beyond what feels easy. Comfort is the enemy of growth, because nothing new, nothing powerful, nothing extraordinary is ever created inside your comfort zone. Everything great you admire, every success story, every achievement, every transformation, came from someone who chose discomfort over ease, discipline over pleasure, and purpose over comfort. But comfort seduces you. It whispers that you can try tomorrow, that you can rest a little more, that you can take the easier path. It convinces you that staying where you are is safer than stepping into the unknown. And because the comfort zone feels so familiar, so predictable, effortless, many people spend their entire lives stuck in it without realizing they are slowly dying inside. They are alive, but not living. Breathing, not growing. Existing, but not evolving. The comfort zone feels like protection, but it is actually limitation disguised as safety. The longer you stay in it, the smaller you become. Your dreams become smaller, your ambitions become weaker, your confidence becomes fragile. Your spirit begins to shrink. You start settling for things you once prayed to escape. You convince yourself that your potential is lower than it truly is. And before you know it, you accept a life far below what you're capable of because comfort made you forget your power. The truth is that growth only happens in discomfort. Every great breakthrough begins with a decision to leave behind the familiar and step into the challenging. Just like muscles grow through resistance, your character, your mindset, and your potential grow through struggle. Without resistance, you remain the same. Without discomfort, you never evolve. The things you fear, avoid, or procrastinate on are often the very things that would transform your life the most. That conversation you're afraid to have. That risk you're afraid to take. That new skill you're afraid to learn. Opportunity you hesitate to pursue. Those are the stepping stones to your next level. But the comfort zone convinces you to stay where you are because it wants stability, not growth. It wants predictability, not progress. It wants ease, not elevation. Growth requires willingness to be uncomfortable, to be a beginner, to fail, to look foolish, to feel awkward, to push beyond your limits, to do things that scare you. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you expand your world. Every time you push your limits grow. Time you face your fears shrink. Discomfort becomes your teacher, your guide, your path to becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more capable than you were before. Breaking out of your comfort zone is not a single action, it is a mindset. It is a way of living where you choose progress over perfection, effort over ease, and challenge over routine. It means waking up every day with the intention to do something that stretches you, something that pushes you, something that forces you to grow. It could be waking up earlier, speaking up when you're scared, reading instead of scrolling, choosing the workout instead of the excuse, studying when you'd rather sleep, saying yes to a new opportunity, or saying no to something that drains your energy. The size of the step doesn't matter. What matters is the direction. Every step outside your comfort zone builds courage, and courage compounds. The more you push yourself, the more confident you become in your ability to handle discomfort. After a while, discomfort becomes your new normal. What once scared you becomes easy. What once made you hesitant becomes part of who you are. Growth becomes addictive, and comfort becomes boring. You start craving challenges because challenges reveal your strength. You start appreciating obstacles because obstacles shape your character. You start welcoming discomfort because discomfort becomes the pathway to everything you ever wanted. Comfort zones are dangerous because they provide an illusion of security, but in reality, they keep you stuck in a cycle of mediocrity. You stay in jobs you hate because they feel stable. You stay in unhealthy relationships because loneliness scares you more than unhappiness. You refuse opportunities because you fear failure more than regret. You avoid trying new things because you fear judgment more than stagnation. The greatest danger in life is not taking risks, it is staying the same. Because the world changes, opportunities change, time passes, and if you remain in the same place, you allow life to move forward without you. You wake up years later wondering where your dreams went. Comfort steals dreams quietly without warning. It doesn't destroy them instantly. It slowly convinces you that your dreams aren't realistic. Then it convinces you to settle for less, and eventually it convinces you that you never wanted more in the first place. That is the slow death of potential. The only way to escape it is to deliberately step into the unknown. Breaking out of your comfort zone also requires you to accept that failure is part of the journey. Most people stay comfortable because they fear failure. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. You cannot learn without failing. You cannot grow without making mistakes. You cannot succeed without taking risks. Failure teaches you resilience, humility, strategy, and strength. Comfort teaches you nothing. The people who win in life are not the ones who avoid failure. They are the ones who fail, learn, adapt, and keep going. When you stop fearing failure, unlock a level of freedom most people will never experience. You stop overthinking. You stop hesitating. You stop doubting. You start doing, trying. You start moving. You start building. Progress replaces perfection. Effort replaces fear. Action replaces procrastination, because once you embrace discomfort, you embrace growth, and once you embrace growth, success becomes inevitable. The moment you choose to leave your comfort zone, you open the door to a version of yourself that you have never met before. A stronger you, a braver you, disciplined you, a wiser you, a more capable you. That person is waiting on the other side of discomfort. That person is built through challenges, pressure, and perseverance. You cannot meet that version of yourself if you never push past your limits. Your comfort zone will always tell you to stay where you are, but your future is calling you to move. Growth requires courage. The courage to step into uncertainty, the courage to take risks, the courage to start something new, the courage to challenge your old self, the courage to chase something bigger than your fears. And every time you choose courage over comfort, you evolve. You become someone who refuses to settle. Someone who strives for excellence. Someone who takes responsibility for their life. Someone who creates their own path. Someone who is unstoppable. The truth is, the comfort zone will always exist, and it will always tempt you. But once you taste the power of growth, once you feel the pride of overcoming your fears, once you experience the transformation that comes from stepping into the unknown, you will never want to go back. Because the comfort zone may feel safe, but it will never make you strong. It may feel peaceful, but it will never make you proud. It may feel familiar, but it will never make you fulfilled. Your potential lives outside of it. Your breakthroughs live outside of it. Your future lives outside of it. And if you want to win in life, you must be willing to break out of your comfort zone again and again until growth becomes your natural state. The world belongs to those who dare, not those who stay comfortable. So choose discomfort. Choose growth. Choose the path that challenges you, stretches you, and forces you to become more. Because, when you step out of your comfort zone, you step into your greatness, and once you do, your life will never be the same again. There comes a point in every journey where the noise of the world becomes louder than your own thoughts, where 1,000 opinions start pulling you in 1,000 directions. You begin to feel as if your own voice is sinking somewhere beneath the weight of expectations, doubts, and unspoken fears. Chapter 8 is that moment where you stop letting the outside world dictate your inside world, where you decide that the only validation that matters is the one you give yourself. Is the chapter where you understand that people will always have something to say, whether you are winning, losing, standing still, or trying your best to move forward. Some will criticize because they don't understand your purpose. Some will doubt because they see your potential and feel threatened. Some will discourage you simply because they never had the courage to attempt what you are daring to do. And if you let every comment, every judgment, every whisper enter your heart, you will lose the very energy that fuels your progress. Life becomes lighter and clearer when you stop explaining yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. Instead of trying to convince others why your path matters, you begin to convince yourself that your path is worth walking, no matter who supports it or who doesn't. You begin to understand that the journey of winning is not about proving others wrong, but proving yourself right. When you stop seeking permission to grow, everything within you opens up. Your creativity becomes bolder, your decisions become sharper, your mind starts to breathe again. The world has conditioned us to believe that we need approval to evolve, that we need applause to take another step, that we need to hear, "You're doing the right thing," before we trust our own instincts. But the truth is that no one sees your vision the way you see it. No one feels the fire that burns in you. No one hears the dreams that echo in your mind late at night when everything is quiet and still. Other people can't validate what they were never given access to. This chapter is about reclaiming your power by recognizing that your destiny is not a group project and your growth is not a public performance. It is a private commitment between you and the best version of yourself. And once you protect that commitment from external opinions, begin to walk differently. You begin to talk differently. You begin to choose differently. You stop reacting to negativity, because you finally understand that every time you give energy to noise, you take energy away from purpose. The moment you shift your focus from, "What will they think?" to, "What do I want?" everything begins to align. Your priorities become clearer, your time becomes sacred, your attention becomes too valuable to waste on things that don't move you forward. And the more you protect your focus, stronger you become. There will be moments when you feel alone, not because no one is around you, but because you are outgrowing environments that no longer match your vision. Growth feels uncomfortable because it requires you to leave behind old versions of yourself, old habits, old relationships, old beliefs that once felt safe but now hold you back. Sometimes you will outgrow people you once loved deeply. Sometimes you will feel disconnected from conversations that used to entertain you. Sometimes you will walk away from situations that you tolerated for years. This is not loneliness, it is transformation. It is your mind stepping into a different frequency, your soul rising to a higher level of awareness, your purpose calling you forward even when you don't feel ready. And in these moments of discomfort, people might judge you. They might say you've changed. They might say you're distant. They might say you think too highly of yourself now. But growth always looks like arrogance to those who prefer the version of you that didn't threaten them. They loved you when you were small, predictable, self-doubting, and easily controlled. They loved you when you needed them. But the moment you begin to rely on your own inner strength, the moment you stop settling for less, the moment you realize that you were meant for more, those same people might turn cold, silent, or distant. This chapter teaches you to keep going anyway. You don't owe anyone an explanation for why you refuse to shrink anymore. You don't need to justify your evolution to those who never wanted you to grow in the first place. People will always project their fears onto you. They will tell you that your dreams are too big, because they never learned to dream at all. They will say your goals are unrealistic, because their own attempts failed long before they tried hard enough. They will label your focus as obsession, because they never had the courage to commit to anything meaningful. That's why it becomes essential to trust yourself more than you trust the comfort of their opinions. Your inner voice might be quieter at first, but it is always more honest. It tells you what you are capable of. It pushes you to step forward even when your legs shake. It reminds you that the people judging you now will be the same people pretending they supported you all along when your success finally speaks loud enough to silence them. But even then, you won't care about their validation anymore, because you will have learned that your journey was never about being approved. It was about becoming unstoppable. Staying focused on yourself until you win means mastering emotional control. It means not responding to every insult, not fighting every battle, not correcting every lie, and not chasing every person who walks away. It means understanding that silence is a strategy, not a weakness. Your full attention, it means allowing people to think whatever they want while you continue to build the life they said was impossible. It means letting your results speak for you. The truth is that success has a voice louder than any argument you could ever make. Don't respect your words, they respect your outcomes. And the only way to create those outcomes is to protect your peace, protect your focus, protect your energy at all costs. You are not obligated to explain your priorities. You are not obligated to defend your dreams. You are not obligated to keep people in your life who make you doubt yourself. Some journeys can only be walked alone, and this chapter is where you accept that with strength instead of fear. The strongest version of you is the one who learns to move forward without applause. The most powerful version of you is the one who shows up even when no one is watching. The most unstoppable version of you is the one who keeps going even when the world does not believe in you. At the end of the day, the world only respects winners, and winners are people who were once doubted, underestimated, ignored, laughed at, overlooked. But they kept going anyway. They stayed focused when distractions tried to pull them away. They stayed disciplined when others quit. They stayed committed when nothing was working. They believed in themselves before anyone else believed in them. And that is exactly what this chapter calls you to do. Believe in your own power, trust your own vision, and keep your eyes on your own path until the results become undeniable. There comes a time in every journey where discipline becomes the defining line between those who dream and those who achieve, between those who talk and those who do, between those who hope for a better life and those who build it with their own hands. Chapter 9 is about that quiet, often uncomfortable part of the journey where discipline becomes your closest companion, where motivation begins to fade, and what remains is your commitment to the path you promised yourself you would follow. It is easy to feel inspired when everything is going well, when the mood is right, when the energy is high, when the world feels supportive. But discipline is not born in those moments. Discipline is born on the days when you feel tired, when your heart is heavy, when your mind is distracted, when life feels overwhelming. It is born on mornings when you wake up without enthusiasm, when the path ahead seems longer than you expected, when failure feels closer than success. Discipline grows in silence, without applause, without encouragement, without recognition. It is built inside you like a quiet, unbreakable muscle, strengthened every time you choose to show up, even when you don't feel like it. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that keeps burning long after the spark disappears. It is the force that pushes you forward when everything inside you wants to stop. It is the reason some people become champions while others remain trapped in cycles of excuses and procrastination. Most people underestimate the power of discipline because they are waiting for motivation to save them. They wait for the perfect moment, the perfect feeling, the perfect opportunity, not realizing that waiting is costing them the very life they want to create. You will never feel motivated every day. You will never feel excited about the hard work required to change your life. You will never magically wake up one morning with a sudden burst of unstoppable energy that lasts forever. But you can build the habit of showing up anyway. You can train your mind to act instead of delay, to move instead of hesitate, to push instead of complain. The truth is that discipline is not something some people are born with and others are not. It is something you build, step by step, choice by choice, day by day. It is not glamorous. It is not dramatic. It is not loud. It is the quiet decision to do what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. The more you choose discipline, the more your life begins to change in ways you never imagined. You wake up feeling capable. You start trusting yourself. Stop breaking promises to your own spirit. You begin to realize that consistency, not intensity, is what transforms everything. There will be days when discipline feels like a burden, when you question why you started, when you wonder if the effort is even worth it. Those days are the most important days of the journey, because they test whether your goals are truly your goals or just temporary desires. Anyone can be committed when everything is easy. But only those who are serious about changing their lives stay committed when everything is difficult. Discipline teaches you to keep your promises even when your emotions try to pull you in another direction. It teaches you to control your impulses, resist distractions, to ignore temptations that try to steal your time, your peace, and your focus. It teaches you patience, because real success is not the result of one big effort, but the accumulation of 100 small efforts repeated consistently. It teaches you humility, because you learn to show up even when no one appreciates you. It teaches you strength, because you push through discomfort instead of running from it, your full attention. It teaches you resilience, because you prove to yourself that you can endure more than you thought you could. Every person who has ever won anything meaningful in life will tell you the same truth. Discipline is not easy, but it is worth everything, the foundation that makes dreams possible. It is the bridge between thinking and doing, between wishing and achieving. It is the difference between people who talk about their plans and people who execute their plans. It is the difference between potential and results. Many people have talent. Many people have ideas. Many people have hopes and visions, but very few have the discipline to turn those ideas into reality. Talent without discipline is wasted potential. Ambition without discipline is empty talk. Desire without discipline is nothing more than fantasy. Discipline is the force that breathes life into your goals, the engine that keeps your progress moving forward even when motivation disappears. This chapter is a reminder that discipline is not supposed to feel comfortable. It will require you to sacrifice short-term pleasure for long-term reward. It will require you to say no to distractions that feel good in the moment but cost you your future. Will require you to remove people from your life who encourage your bad habits or drain your energy. Will require you to set boundaries with yourself and with others. It will require you to break the patterns that are keeping you stuck. And yes, require you to be uncomfortable, because growth is born from discomfort. The truth is that discipline often feels like suffering before it feels like strength. It feels like pressure before it feels like progress. It feels like sacrifice before it feels like freedom. But every time you push through that discomfort, you build a deeper sense of self-respect. You prove to yourself that you are not controlled by your emotions, your impulses, or your fears. Prove to yourself that you are capable of doing hard things. And once you realize that, your entire mindset shifts. Life stops feeling impossible. Success stops feeling unreachable. Your goals stop feeling intimidating. You begin to feel powerful, grounded, focused, clear. You begin to act with intention instead of reacting out of habit. You begin to choose the life you want instead of settling for the life you have. Discipline also teaches you the value of time. You start to understand that every wasted moment is a moment you will never get back. You begin to treat your hours like currency, spending them on things that bring value instead of things that drain it. You learn to eliminate the unnecessary, the unproductive, the toxic, and the meaningless. You learn to build routines that support your goals, not sabotage them. You learn to take small steps consistently instead of hoping for big leaps occasionally. You learn to prioritize effort over excuses. You learn to show up on time, show up with intention, and show up with purpose. And slowly, almost quietly, life begins to reward you. Opportunities appear. Results grow. Confidence strengthens. Momentum builds. And without even realizing it, the person you used to be, the one who hesitated, procrastinated, doubted, feared, delayed, begins to fade. In their place rises someone stronger, someone sharper, someone disciplined. This chapter reminds you that discipline is the gift you give to your future self. It is the act of building a life you will be proud of. It is the decision to rise above your excuses, your laziness, your doubts, and your fears. It is the mindset of champions, leaders, creators, and achievers. Those who rely on motivation quit. Those who rely on discipline win. And you are not reading this to quit. You are here because you are building the version of yourself that refuses to settle, that refuses to give up, that refuses to accept anything less than the life you know you deserve. Discipline will challenge you, but it will also transform you. It will push you. It will also guide you. It will test you, but it will also strengthen you. When you stay disciplined long enough, success stops being a possibility and becomes a guarantee. Opens with the realization that focus is the single most valuable resource you possess. It is one of the most fragile, easily stolen, and constantly distracted elements of modern life. Every person who achieves greatness understands that the ability to direct your attention toward a single goal, a single purpose, a single priority consistently is far more powerful than raw talent, intelligence, or opportunity. The world is filled with distractions designed to pull you away from your purpose, from your potential, and from the life you were meant to create. Social media notifications, emails, constant messages, news alerts, entertainment, gossip, endless comparisons create a storm of noise that weakens your focus, clouds your mind, and dilutes your energy. Without focus, talent remains dormant, becomes scattered, and even the strongest willpower loses its edge. People often underestimate focus because it doesn't feel exciting, doesn't provide instant gratification, and it doesn't create dramatic results overnight. But focus compounds over time. It is invisible, silent, and often unnoticed in the moment, but the results of focused energy, repeated consistently, become unstoppable forces that transform your life, shape your destiny, and make the impossible achievable. To focus until you win is to guard your attention as if it were a precious asset, because in truth, the power of focus is not about doing more, it is about doing less with greater precision. Most people confuse business with productivity, assuming that moving constantly, checking off tasks, or reacting to every demand is equivalent to progress. They fill their schedules with distractions disguised as important work, believing that being occupied is the same as being effective. But effectiveness is not measured by how much you do, it is measured by how much of what you do moves you closer to your goal. Focus teaches you to eliminate the trivial, the unnecessary, and the irrelevant, so that your energy is reserved for the actions that matter most. It is a discipline that trains your mind to prioritize clarity over chaos, intention over habit, and results over activity. When you are focused, your decisions become deliberate, your efforts become powerful, and your progress accelerates. Distractions begin to lose their appeal because you start to value outcomes over entertainment, long-term achievement over short-term pleasure, purpose over the opinions or expectations of others. Focus requires sacrifice, and that is why so few master it. You cannot focus without saying no to the things that do not serve your goals, to the people who drain your energy, to the habits that waste your time. You must learn to protect your mental space from unnecessary noise, because every second spent on distraction is a second stolen from your growth. You must learn to prioritize deep work, extended concentration, and uninterrupted time, even when the world demands your attention elsewhere. Focus is about saying no repeatedly, so that your yes carries weight and intention. It is about building routines that support your objectives, creating environments that encourage concentration, and developing habits that align your energy with your purpose. The more you practice focus, the more natural it becomes. Over time, distractions no longer control you, you control your attention. Your mind, once pulled in every direction by external stimuli, becomes sharp, clear, and deliberate. You start to see progress faster, execute more efficiently, closer to your vision each day. The challenges to focus are not only external. They are also internal. Your own thoughts, fears, doubts, impulses are some of the strongest distractions you will face. The mind has a tendency to wander, to question, to imagine the impossible, create anxiety about the future, or to dwell on the past. Without discipline, internal noise can be more destructive than external interruptions. Focus requires the courage to face your mind without being consumed by it, to take action, even when fear or uncertainty arises. Commit to the path you have chosen despite internal resistance. Your thoughts may try to convince you that it's too late, that you are not capable, that your efforts will fail, or that the easier path is acceptable. Focus teaches you to ignore those messages, to act anyway. Trust in the consistency of your effort rather than the fleeting emotions of the moment. It requires a mindset of persistence, patience, and unwavering belief in your ability to achieve what you set out to do. The more you practice this kind of mental focus, the more your results reflect it. Your life begins to shift because your energy is no longer scattered. It is concentrated and powerful, directly at your target until nothing can stop you. Focus also demands clarity of purpose. You cannot be fully effective if you are unclear about what you truly want or why it matters. Many people drift through life, believing they are working toward goals, but in reality, their actions are misaligned with their desires. They chase things that are not truly theirs, follow paths chosen by others, and expend energy on outcomes that will not bring fulfillment. Focus requires you to define your priorities, articulate your goals, and identify the actions that will have the greatest impact on your success. It requires you to look at your life and say, what matters most? What is my mission? Where should I put my energy so that it produces the greatest result? Once this clarity is established, focus becomes easier because you have a filter through which every decision passes. You no longer waste time on irrelevant distractions or shallow activities. Instead, you dedicate yourself to the meaningful actions that produce measurable progress. Clarity and focus are inseparable. One cannot exist without the other. When you know your target and commit to it, your energy converges in a single powerful stream that carries you forward relentlessly. Consistency is the natural companion of focus. It is not enough to focus sporadically or in bursts of energy. True results are the product of sustained effort over time. Every day you dedicate yourself to your goal, every small decision aligned with your purpose, every action that moves you forward compounds into results that seem almost magical in hindsight. The secret of high achievers is not luck, talent, or timing. It is the relentless, disciplined application of focused energy over weeks, months, and years. They show up when it is hard, when it is boring, progress feels slow. They continue when others quit. They persist when motivation fades. Their focus creates momentum, and momentum generates results that are far beyond the reach of those who act without attention, consistency, or purpose. Focus builds momentum because it channels energy efficiently. Scattered effort dissipates energy and prevents growth. Concentration allows you to compound your efforts and accelerate your trajectory towards success. Another important aspect of focus is protecting your time and your environment. The world will constantly demand your attention, but you must create boundaries that guard it. You must schedule time for uninterrupted work, silence notifications, limit distractions, intentional about where and how you spend your hours. Focused effort requires preparation, discipline, and foresight. Is not something you can summon at a whim, it is a habit cultivated over time. By prioritizing your focus, you honor your own goals and demonstrate the value of your time. The more you respect your attention, the more powerful it becomes, the faster you move toward the life you want to create. Protecting focus is not selfish. It is essential. Every minute you give to distractions is a minute stolen from your future, from your growth, and from the person you are capable of becoming. This chapter teaches you that focus is a skill, a habit, and a discipline, and mastering it is one of the most critical factors in winning at life. Finally, Chapter 10 emphasizes that focus is not temporary. It is a lifelong commitment. Life will always offer distractions, temptations, and challenges designed to pull you off course. You will face setbacks, interruptions, and circumstances beyond your control. The key is not to eliminate distractions completely, but to learn how to maintain attention despite them. Focus is about training your mind to prioritize what matters most and ignoring everything else until the task is done. Is about developing a mindset that values long-term results over short-term satisfaction. It is about seeing the bigger picture and resisting the lure of immediate but meaningless gratification. The more you practice focus, the more automatic it becomes, and the more your life begins to reflect the power of consistent, intentional attention. By protecting your focus and cultivating it relentlessly, you gain control over your outcomes, accelerate your growth, unlock the level of success that few ever reach. Focus until you win, because the ability to direct your energy with purpose is the ultimate weapon in creating a life that exceeds your own expectations and leaves a legacy that lasts far beyond you. Begins with the realization that persistence is the invisible force that separates winners from the rest, that keeps dreams alive when the initial excitement fades, and that turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results. Persistence is not glamorous, doesn't often receive recognition, applause, or immediate reward. Most people underestimate its power because they are focused on instant gratification, quick results, or overnight success. Yet, every significant achievement in life is a product of relentless, unwavering persistence, the kind that refuses to give up despite obstacles, criticism, failure, or doubt. Persistence is the muscle that strengthens over time, built through consistent action, repeated commitment, and the refusal to quit even when every fiber of your body is screaming that it's easier to walk away. People give up because the path is hard, because the results are delayed, because setbacks feel insurmountable, and because they start believing their own excuses. But persistence is the quiet force that whispers, "Keep going." Even when you feel invisible, unheard, or unsupported, it is the determination to show up daily, to keep moving forward, and to trust the process even when progress seems invisible. Every step you take with persistence compounds into momentum, and that momentum eventually breaks down the barriers that once seemed impossible. Those who persist see failure not as the end, but as a signal, a lesson, and a redirection, and they understand that the temporary discomfort of effort is far less painful than the lifelong regret of quitting. Persistence is not just about effort, it is about belief, resilience, courage, and faith in yourself. It is the one quality that allows ordinary people to achieve extraordinary outcomes when every other factor seems to be against them. Persistence is closely tied to vision. People who persist understand their why, the deep reason behind their actions. That reason becomes the fuel that powers them through adversity. Without a strong purpose, persistence is shallow, sporadic, and easy to abandon, Because effort without meaning feels like work, and work without meaning eventually becomes unbearable. The moment you connect your actions to a higher purpose, to a dream that excites you, or to a goal that ignites your soul, persistence becomes effortless in comparison to the motivation it provides. You're full at attention, you find yourself pushing through challenges because quitting would feel like betraying the very vision that drives you. Your purpose becomes the anchor that keeps you steady when storms arise, the compass that guides you when the path is unclear, the source of energy that allows you to rise after failure. Without purpose, persistence is temporary. With purpose, it becomes unstoppable, unwavering, and transformative. Those who achieve greatness are not necessarily the smartest, the most talented, or the luckiest. They are the ones who persist long after the initial excitement fades, who continue when others stop, and who never let setbacks dictate their trajectory. The path of persistence is rarely easy. It is filled with obstacles, challenges, resistance, and delays. It demands that you confront your fears repeatedly, that you face uncertainty without hesitation, and that you refuse to let frustration, disappointment, or temporary failure define your future. Every person who achieves mastery, success, or fulfillment has faced moments where quitting felt easier, where every sign pointed toward giving up, and where persistence required courage greater than most people ever muster. Yet persistence is what transforms those moments into turning points. Each time you resist the urge to quit, each time you push forward despite resistance, each time you rise after a fall, you build a strength that is invisible to the world but tangible in your results. The more challenges you overcome, the more you expand your capacity to endure, to adapt, and to persevere. Those who persist develop mental toughness, emotional resilience, and an unwavering belief in their ability to overcome whatever life throws at them. Persistence becomes both the shield and the sword that allows you to continue fighting for your dreams, even when everything seems stacked against you. Chapter 11 also emphasizes the importance of consistency as a form of persistence. Effort is not enough if it is irregular, inconsistent, or driven only by fleeting motivation. True persistence is a daily choice, a repeated decision to act even when you feel like staying still. It is the long-term commitment to showing up, performing, improving, and moving forward regardless of external conditions or internal doubts. It is the understanding that massive outcomes are rarely the result of one heroic effort. They are the accumulation of countless small actions, repeated consistently over time. Persistence and consistency go hand in hand, forming the backbone of achievement. When you persist with consistency, results start to compound, habits strengthen, confidence builds, and progress accelerates. In contrast, inconsistency leads to stagnation, wasted effort, frustration, because potential without persistent action cannot materialize into tangible success. Those who achieve remarkable results understand that persistence is not dramatic, flashy, or urgent. It is quiet, deliberate, and continuous. That is precisely why it is so powerful. Another essential lesson of this chapter is that persistence requires patience. The world often promotes instant results, quick fixes, and overnight success, but real achievement is a marathon, not a sprint. Patience is the companion of persistence, allowing you to endure delays, setbacks, and slow progress without losing faith or giving up. It teaches you to trust the process, to recognize that results are not always immediate. Continue acting with faith, even when you cannot yet see the outcome. People quit because they expect too much too soon. They compare themselves to others, or because they lose hope when the reward is not instantaneous. But those who persist understand that time is an ally, not an enemy, and that consistent effort, repeated over months and years, inevitably produces results that appear sudden only in hindsight. Patience and persistence together create unstoppable momentum, because the person who keeps moving forward, step by step, day after day, eventually outpaces those who rely on talent, luck, or short bursts of effort. Persistence also demands resilience in the face of criticism, doubt, and opposition. The world will always have opinions about your path, your efforts, your goals. Some people will doubt you because they cannot see your vision. Some will criticize you because they are threatened by your ambition. Some will discourage you because their fear is louder than their belief. Persistence requires the courage to continue regardless of external voices. It requires the mental strength to maintain focus, the emotional fortitude to rise above negativity, and the determination to act in alignment with your purpose rather than the expectations of others. Every successful person has encountered resistance, but what separates those who succeed from those who fail is their willingness to persist despite opposition. Resistance is not a signal to quit, it is a signal to keep going. Obstacles are not roadblocks, they are opportunities to prove your resilience. Criticism is not discouragement, it is the test of your belief in yourself. Persistence is the practice of continuing forward regardless. In that continuation lies the power to transform your life. Ultimately, Chapter 11 teaches that persistence is the lifelong commitment to your dreams, the relentless refusal to give up, and the unwavering dedication to keep moving toward your goals even when circumstances, emotions, or obstacles tempt you to stop. It is the quality that turns ordinary people into extraordinary achievers, that transforms setbacks into lessons, that converts challenges into triumphs. Persistence is more than effort, it is a mindset, a habit, a discipline, and a strategy for life, is the invisible force that makes the impossible achievable, the unseen engine that drives success, and the enduring principle that ensures your vision becomes reality. Give them your full attention. Who persist until the end discover that the greatest victories are not always immediate, the rewards are not always recognized by others, but the satisfaction of knowing you never quit, that you kept going when everything tried to stop you, is the most powerful and lasting success of all. Persistence allows you to take control of your destiny, build the life you envision, and achieve the level of mastery, fulfillment, and triumph that most people only dream about. It is the quiet, invisible, and unstoppable power that transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results. It is the defining quality of anyone who truly focuses on themselves until they win. Begins with the understanding that mindset is the foundation upon which all success is built. The invisible force that determines whether effort leads to growth or stagnation, whether challenges become opportunities or obstacles, whether dreams remain fantasies or become reality. Your mindset shapes how you perceive the world, how you interpret events, and how you respond to adversity. People often underestimate the power of mindset because it is invisible, intangible, and does not produce immediate results. Yet, it is the engine behind every decision, the lens through which every opportunity is viewed, and the force that either propels you forward or holds you back. Those who win understand that their success is less about circumstances and more about the way they think, the beliefs they hold, and the mental frameworks they operate within. Mindset is not something you are born with. It is something you cultivate, shape, and strengthen over time. A strong, growth-oriented mindset allows you to see challenges as opportunities, setbacks as lessons, Failures as temporary detours rather than permanent endings is the mental resilience that enables you to remain focused on your goals despite distractions, delays, and disappointments. A powerful mindset begins with self-awareness. You must understand your own thought patterns, your internal dialogue, and the beliefs that guide your actions. People operate on autopilot, unconsciously allowing limiting beliefs to dictate their choices and actions. These beliefs might include ideas such as, "I am not capable," "I don't deserve success," or "This is too hard for me." Chapter 12 teaches that identifying and challenging these limiting beliefs is the first step in developing a mindset that supports achievement. Once you recognize that your thoughts are not facts, that fears are often illusions, and that doubts are only temporary mental obstacles, you can begin to reframe your thinking in a way that empowers rather than restricts. Your mind will try to protect you by keeping you safe in familiar patterns, but true growth requires pushing beyond comfort, challenging assumptions, training your thoughts to work in your favor rather than against you. Growth-oriented mindset requires the cultivation of optimism, not in a naive sense, but as a deliberate choice to see possibilities rather than limitations. Optimism is the fuel of persistence, the lens through which challenges are reframed as opportunities, and the attitude that allows you to keep moving forward, even when results are slow or invisible. A person with a growth mindset understands that setbacks are temporary, that effort leads to improvement, that learning from mistakes is more valuable than avoiding them. They do not blame circumstances or external factors for their lack of progress. Instead, take full responsibility for their actions, decisions, and results. This sense of personal responsibility is crucial because it shifts the power back into your hands. When you believe that your outcomes are determined by your mindset, effort, and choices rather than luck, chance, or other people, you become unstoppable. Your focus sharpens, your energy aligns with your goals, and your persistence becomes unwavering. Another key aspect of mindset is the understanding that failure is not the opposite of success, but an essential component of it. Many people fear failure because they equate it with inadequacy, shame, or loss. Chapter 12 teaches that reframing failure as feedback, as a lesson, as a stepping stone is vital for developing mental strength. Every mistake carries information that, when analyzed and applied, brings you closer to your goals. Those with a growth mindset embrace failure as a natural and necessary part of progress. They take calculated risks, learn from errors, and use setbacks to refine their strategies. By accepting failure as part of the journey, rather than a verdict on their ability, they maintain confidence, resilience, and focus. In contrast, those with a fixed mindset see failure as a permanent reflection of their inadequacy, which leads to fear, avoidance, and stagnation. Mindset determines how you interpret events and ultimately shapes your trajectory in life. Mindset also influences how you interact with others and the environment around you. People with a strong, growth-oriented mindset seek knowledge, mentorship, and collaboration because they understand that learning from others accelerates progress. They are open to feedback, willing to listen, and able to separate criticism from personal attack. They see competition as motivation to improve rather than a threat to their self-worth. This openness to growth creates a positive cycle. The more they learn and adapt, the more results they achieve, further reinforces a mindset of possibility and confidence. Those who resist feedback, reject learning, or allow ego to dominate their actions often find themselves trapped in cycles of repeated mistakes and limited growth. Mindset, therefore, is not only about internal thought processes, but also about how you engage with the world and respond to opportunities for improvement. One of the most powerful elements of mindset is self-belief. Chapter 12 emphasizes that belief in your own potential is the cornerstone of all achievement. Self-belief is not arrogance or entitlement, it is the unwavering trust in your ability to grow, learn, and overcome challenges. Without self-belief, you are more likely to quit at the first sign of difficulty, procrastinate when tasks feel overwhelming, or avoid risks that could lead to significant rewards. Self-belief strengthens your resilience, fuels your persistence, and gives you the courage to act when others hesitate. It is the internal assurance that even when circumstances are imperfect, when support is lacking, or when results are delayed, you are capable of moving forward, adapting, and ultimately winning. The combination of self-belief and disciplined action is unstoppable, because belief provides the mental foundation. Action translates that belief into tangible outcomes. Mindset is also about perspective. How you choose to interpret events, challenges, and setbacks determines whether they empower you or drain you. People with a strong, growth-focused mindset understand that perspective is a choice. They choose to see problems as opportunities, criticism as information, obstacles as challenges, and adversity as a chance to grow stronger. This perspective allows them to maintain clarity, motivation, and resilience even in difficult circumstances. When your mindset is aligned with growth, approach life proactively rather than reactively. You act with intention, make deliberate choices, remain focused on long-term outcomes rather than being distracted by short-term discomfort or uncertainty. Your mind becomes a tool for progress rather than a source of limitation. Finally, Chapter 12 teaches that mindset must be cultivated daily. It is not a one-time change or a fixed trait. It is a continuous practice that requires vigilance, reflection, and intentional effort. This includes monitoring your self-talk, challenging negative beliefs, visualizing success, surrounding yourself with supportive influences, consistently choosing actions that reinforce a growth-focused perspective. Like any skill, mindset strengthens with repetition and deliberate practice. Day presents an opportunity to reinforce positive thinking patterns, reframe challenges, and commit to personal growth. Over time, the cumulative effect of a strong mindset becomes evident in results, habits, relationships, and personal satisfaction. The person who cultivates the right mindset does not wait for ideal circumstances. They create opportunities, overcome challenges, and consistently move toward their vision. Mindset is the foundation that allows you to focus, persist, and achieve at the highest level, the invisible power that turns obstacles into stepping stones, challenges into lessons, and effort into lasting success. By mastering your mindset, you master the art of winning in life. Begins with the understanding that action is the bridge between intention and achievement, the link that transforms ideas, plans, and dreams into tangible results. Without action, vision remains nothing more than fantasy, potential stays dormant, goals remain forever out of reach. Many people have aspirations, dreams, and even detailed plans, but the difference between those who succeed and those who fail lies entirely in the ability to act consistently and decisively. Action is not merely doing for the sake of activity, it is purposeful, deliberate, and focused effort directed toward achieving a specific objective. It is the physical expression of commitment, the proof that you are willing to translate thought into reality. Ideas are powerless without action. Planning without execution is wasted energy. Chapter 13 emphasizes that taking action is non-negotiable for anyone who wants to win because momentum cannot be built through thought alone. The person who acts, even imperfectly, gains experience, learns lessons, and uncovers opportunities that those who hesitate will never encounter. Action compounds over time, and each step forward, no matter how small, adds to the accumulation of progress. Taking action requires overcoming inertia, fear, and doubt, all of which are powerful forces designed to keep you in your comfort zone. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of the unknown, and fear of making mistakes are common mental barriers that prevent people from starting or moving forward. Chapter 13 teaches that these fears are natural but must not dictate your behavior. Every successful person has faced fear, yet they acted anyway. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of fear. Action is the antidote to procrastination and self-doubt, because doing something, imperfectly, produces clarity, insight, and momentum. The longer you wait to act, the more opportunities pass you by, the more doubts accumulate, more your confidence erodes. Momentum is built by action, and once momentum is established, progress accelerates and challenges become manageable rather than overwhelming. The key is to start to move, and to keep moving consistently, trusting that each step forward, however small, contributes to your eventual success. Action also requires discipline and planning. Impulsive or random effort without a clear purpose often leads to wasted energy and limited results. 13 emphasizes the importance of combining deliberate action with strategic planning. This means setting clear goals, breaking them down into manageable steps, prioritizing the most important tasks, and executing them consistently. Action without direction can lead to business without progress, while focused action produces tangible outcomes, builds confidence, and reinforces motivation. Strategic action involves identifying the high-leverage activities that will create the greatest impact, eliminating distractions, committing fully to the tasks that align with your objectives. Every action should move you closer to your vision, and by consistently choosing actions that matter, you gradually transform your life. Success is rarely the result of one monumental act, accumulation of countless small actions repeated with purpose over time. Another critical aspect of action is resilience. Taking action inevitably leads to obstacles, setbacks, and failures. Chapter 13 teaches that the willingness to continue acting despite challenges is what separates winners from those who give up. Action alone is not enough if it stops when difficulty arises. Real progress requires persistence, adaptation, and the ability to learn from every experience. Each obstacle encountered is an opportunity to refine your approach, strengthen your skills, and deepen your understanding. Those who act but fail to persevere will never reach their full potential, while those who continue despite difficulty discover solutions, uncover new paths, and achieve results beyond their expectations. Resilient action requires both mental toughness and emotional balance, the ability to maintain focus, and the capacity to remain motivated even when results are delayed or when the path becomes unclear. Action also demands accountability. Chapter 13 emphasizes that you are ultimately responsible for the results you achieve. No one else can take action for you, no one else can guarantee your success. This sense of responsibility is empowering, because it places control over outcomes in your own hands. People who wait for external validation, permission, or ideal conditions often stagnate, while those who take ownership of their actions gain freedom, clarity, and confidence. Accountability involves setting clear intentions, measuring progress, and evaluating outcomes honestly. It also includes the willingness to adjust your strategy, correct mistakes, and recommit to the goal without making excuses. By accepting full responsibility, action becomes deliberate, focused, and powerful. You learn to trust yourself, rely on your capabilities, and develop the confidence that you can create the results you desire through consistent effort. Taking action requires overcoming perfectionism. Many people delay action because they want conditions to be perfect, plans to be flawless, or timing to be ideal. Chapter 13 highlights that perfectionism is a trap that prevents progress. Waiting for the perfect moment often leads to procrastination, missed opportunities, and stagnation. Action does not have to be perfect, it only needs to be taken. Every step forward, even if flawed, creates learning, builds momentum, and produces results that can be refined along the way. Perfectionism undermines action by creating unnecessary hesitation and fear. Those who succeed understand that imperfect action taken consistently is far more valuable than flawless action delayed indefinitely. The courage to act despite imperfection is what allows momentum to develop and opportunities to be seized before they vanish. Action also magnifies learning. Chapter 13 emphasizes that knowledge alone is insufficient. It must be applied to create experience, insights, and results. Every action, successful or unsuccessful, produces valuable feedback. Mistakes reveal gaps in skill or understanding, successes confirm effective strategies, consistent effort builds competence. People who act regularly learn faster, adapt more quickly, develop deeper expertise than those who remain passive. Action is both the teacher and the pathway to mastery, transforms theoretical understanding into practical application, strengthens confidence, and accelerates growth. Those who hesitate, overthink, or remain passive deprive themselves of the lessons embedded in experience, while those who take decisive steps gain an advantage in both skill and perspective. Chapter 13 also highlights the importance of maintaining momentum through continuous action. Once you start, it is essential to keep moving forward, building upon progress rather than allowing it to dissipate. Momentum is a powerful force that increases motivation, reinforces confidence, simplifies future action. Each step forward makes the next step easier, and over time, consistent action transforms daunting challenges into manageable tasks. Momentum compounds the effects of effort, accelerates achievement, persistence into tangible results. Stopping too soon, giving in to distractions, or waiting for external motivation undermines momentum and reduces the effectiveness of previous effort. Sustained, focused, deliberate action is the key to maintaining progress and achieving long-term success. Finally, 13 underscores that action is the ultimate differentiator. Ideas, plans, talent, and knowledge are common, but those who act distinguish themselves and achieve results that others only dream about. Action turns possibility into reality, intention into accomplishment, and potential into performance. It bridges the gap between where you are and where you want to be. It is the foundation upon which every victory is built. Those who commit to action understand that consistent effort, strategic execution, resilience, accountability, and the courage to act despite fear or imperfection are non-negotiable elements of success. By taking action relentlessly, you create opportunities, generate momentum, learn faster, overcome challenges, and ultimately achieve the life you envisioned. Chapter 13 reinforces the truth that action is the pathway to winning, and without it, even the best plans, ideas, or dreams remain dormant and unrealized. Those who focus on themselves until they win understand that action is the most powerful tool they possess, and by wielding it consistently, they transform their vision into reality, their potential into performance, and their dreams into undeniable achievements. begins with the understanding that perseverance is not simply the ability to endure challenges but the deliberate, consistent decision to continue moving forward even when every circumstance, emotion, or obstacle seems designed to stop you. It is the quality that ensures progress when motivation fades, inspiration wanes, and the world appears indifferent to your efforts. Your full attention. Perseverance is different from mere effort because it is fueled by purpose, guided by clarity, and sustained through discipline. Many people exert energy sporadically, hoping that enthusiasm or luck will carry them to success. But perseverance is the steady engine that keeps you moving when temporary motivation is gone. It is the internal commitment that anchors you during times of uncertainty, frustration, or apparent failure. Chapter 14 emphasizes that winning is not about speed, convenience, or ease. It is about maintaining forward motion with consistency, resilience, and unwavering focus, even when the path is difficult or unclear. Perseverance transforms challenges into opportunities, setbacks into lessons, effort into results. Those who achieve remarkable success are distinguished not by talent alone, but by the steadfast refusal to quit in the face of adversity. True perseverance requires a deep understanding of your purpose. Without a clear reason for why you are pursuing a goal, easy to become discouraged and lose direction when difficulties arise. Chapter 14 teaches that purpose acts as the guiding light, giving meaning to every action and sustaining effort when the results are delayed or obstacles seem overwhelming. Your purpose must be personal, compelling, and significant enough to outweigh temporary discomfort. It is not sufficient to act for recognition, reward, or approval from others. These external factors are unreliable and fleeting. Purpose connects your effort to a larger vision, providing the energy and motivation to push beyond fear, fatigue, and frustration. Every time you remind yourself why you are on your journey, perseverance becomes easier, because the challenge is no longer about enduring discomfort, but about honoring your commitment to yourself and your vision. Perseverance also requires the ability to embrace discomfort and uncertainty as part of growth. The human mind naturally resists pain, difficulty, unknown, preferring immediate comfort over long-term gain. Yet, Chapter 14 emphasizes that every step towards success involves navigating discomfort and taking risks that test your endurance, courage, and focus. Growth is rarely comfortable, and transformation demands that you confront challenges head-on, adapt to changing circumstances, and persist even when the outcome is uncertain. Those who persevere understand that temporary discomfort is a small price to pay for lasting achievement. They see every obstacle as an opportunity to strengthen their resolve, sharpen their skills, and increase their capacity to overcome future difficulties. The ability to endure hardship without losing focus or motivation is a hallmark of those who eventually reach extraordinary levels of success. Another vital element of perseverance is adaptability. Chapter 14 teaches that unwavering commitment does not mean rigid adherence to a single plan or approach. Life is unpredictable. Obstacles often require adjustment, learning, and flexibility. Perseverance involves continuing toward your goal while being willing to change your methods, refine your strategies, and learn from experience. Those who are overly rigid may give up prematurely when their initial plan encounters resistance, while those who persevere with adaptability can navigate obstacles creatively, turning challenges into opportunities. Perseverance is therefore not blind stubbornness, it is a combination of determination, patience, resilience, and intelligence. It is the ability to remain focused on the destination while adjusting the journey as needed, in that every setback becomes a step forward rather than a barrier. Emotional control is another essential aspect of perseverance. Chapter 14 emphasizes that emotions can either strengthen or undermine your commitment. Fear, doubt, frustration, and discouragement are natural responses to challenges, but they must not dictate your actions. Those who persevere learn to acknowledge their emotions without being controlled by them, using them as signals to adjust strategies or refocus effort rather than as excuses to stop. Emotional discipline allows you to maintain consistency, act with clarity, and sustain motivation even during the most difficult periods. By mastering your internal state, preserve the energy needed for sustained effort, and prevent temporary setbacks from becoming permanent obstacles. Emotional resilience, combined with persistence, is a force multiplier that allows you to push through adversity and maintain momentum toward your goals. Perseverance also involves long-term vision and patience. Chapter 14 teaches that success is rarely immediate, and lasting achievement often requires months, years, or even decades of continuous effort. It is easy to become discouraged when results do not appear quickly, or when progress seems slower than expected. But those who persevere understand that cumulative effort compounds over time. Every action, repetition, and step forward builds on the previous one, creating a trajectory of growth that becomes undeniable in the long term. Patience is the companion of perseverance, allowing you to endure delays, maintain focus, and continue acting toward your vision without giving in to frustration or impulsive decisions. The combination of long-term perspective, consistent effort, and resilient mindset ensures that even the most challenging journeys eventually yield success. Chapter 14 further emphasizes that perseverance is strengthened by accountability and support, while the ultimate responsibility for effort and results lies with you. Surrounding yourself with mentors, peers, systems that encourage persistence enhances your ability to continue when challenges arise. Accountability provides structure, motivation, and reinforcement, ensuring that temporary discouragement does not derail your progress. Supportive relationships, constructive feedback, shared commitment to growth create an environment where perseverance becomes more natural and sustainable. However, perseverance must also be internalized, because external support can be inconsistent or unavailable. True perseverance comes from within, from the internal decision to continue regardless of external circumstances. The combination of internal commitment and external reinforcement creates an unstoppable drive toward achievement. Failure is an inevitable component of any journey that requires perseverance. Chapter 14 teaches that those who succeed view failure not as a verdict but as information, a guide to adjust strategy, learn lessons, and strengthen resolve. Each setback carries valuable insights that, when applied, make future efforts more effective. Those who give up after failure miss these opportunities, while those who persevere convert setbacks into stepping stones. Failure tests commitment, resilience, and focus, and every person who reaches extraordinary levels of success has experienced multiple failures along the way. The key to perseverance is the ability to rise, learn, and continue despite temporary defeat, using each experience as fuel to propel forward, rather than as a reason to quit. Perseverance also requires self-discipline and consistent action. Chapter 14 emphasizes that sustained progress is built on repeated, deliberate steps taken daily. Small actions accumulate, creating momentum that carries you through challenges and amplifies results over time. Discipline ensures that effort is continuous, even when motivation is low or distractions arise. Those who persevere understand that results are rarely the product of a single heroic act, but rather the outcome of consistent, focused effort repeated with intention. Daily commitment, strategic planning, and deliberate action form the foundation of perseverance, creating a cycle of progress that becomes unstoppable when maintained over time. Finally, Chapter 14 teaches that perseverance is ultimately a mindset. It is the belief that no matter the obstacles, delays, or difficulties, you are capable of continuing forward, adapting, learning, ultimately achieving your goals. Perseverance transforms ordinary effort into extraordinary results, and it is the distinguishing factor between those who focus on themselves until they win and those who give up prematurely. A lifelong commitment to resilience, action, adaptability, and clarity of purpose, ensuring that every challenge faced becomes an opportunity for growth. Every setback is a lesson, and every step forward, no matter how small, moves you closer to victory. Those who cultivate perseverance understand that success is not guaranteed by talent, luck, or favorable circumstances, but by the unwavering decision to continue to act and to endure until the results are undeniable, until the vision becomes reality, until victory is achieved. Chapter 14 reinforces the truth that perseverance is the essential quality that sustains focus, strengthens resolve, and ensures that consistent effort ultimately leads to winning, no matter how difficult or uncertain the journey may appear. Begins with the understanding that winning is not simply a moment of achievement, but the culmination of focus, perseverance, action, mindset, and consistent effort applied over time. Success is rarely instantaneous. It is built through a combination of strategy, discipline, learning, and unwavering commitment. This chapter emphasizes that winning is not reserved for the lucky, the naturally talented, or the privileged, but for those who dedicate themselves fully to their goals, maintain relentless focus, and refuse to be deterred by obstacles, failures, or external circumstances. To win means to continue moving forward when others quit, to act decisively when indecision would be easier, to maintain clarity of purpose when distraction and doubt surround you. Winning is the natural result of cumulative effort, applied intelligently, consistently, and with courage. And it is the product of the principles that have been discussed throughout the previous chapters, now brought together in practice. It is the manifestation of everything learned, experienced, and applied with intentionality over time. To achieve victory, Chapter 15 teaches that focus is the foundational element. Focus is the ability to direct your attention and energy exclusively toward what matters most, eliminating distractions, minimizing unnecessary effort, and prioritizing actions that have the greatest impact on your goals. Focus allows you to move efficiently, make better decisions, and maximize the value of every action you take. Without focus, effort becomes scattered, results are inconsistent, and even the most talented individuals struggle to reach their potential. Focus is not simply a skill but a discipline that must be cultivated, protected, and reinforced daily. By maintaining focus on the tasks, actions, and objectives that truly matter, you ensure that your energy produces tangible results, rather than being wasted on trivialities or distractions. Focus compounds over time, creating a momentum that magnifies every effort and accelerates progress toward winning. Action is another critical component of winning. Chapter 15 emphasizes that ideas, knowledge, and plans alone are insufficient. They must be executed to produce results. Action is the bridge between vision and reality, the tangible demonstration of commitment and persistence. Those who win understand that action is not sporadic or dependent on perfect conditions, but consistent, deliberate, and purposeful. Every step, every effort, and every decision made in alignment with your objectives builds momentum, experience, and confidence. Action provides feedback, accelerates learning, and allows adjustments to be made in real time. The person who acts consistently, even imperfectly, gains an advantage over those who overthink, procrastinate, or wait for the ideal moment. Momentum, once built through action, becomes a powerful force that carries you forward, amplifying the effects of each subsequent effort and making progress easier to sustain. Perseverance is also central to winning. Chapter 15 teaches that obstacles, setbacks, and challenges are inevitable in any meaningful pursuit. Your full attention and the ability to continue moving forward despite these difficulties distinguishes those who achieve success from those who give up. Perseverance requires mental toughness, emotional resilience, and a commitment to long-term vision over short-term comfort. It involves embracing failure as a learning opportunity, adapting strategies as needed, and remaining consistent in effort regardless of temporary outcomes. The path to victory is rarely smooth, but perseverance ensures that challenges are met with determination rather than discouragement, allowing you to maintain progress and grow stronger with each experience. Those who persevere develop the ability to overcome resistance, learn from mistakes, continue moving forward until results are achieved, making perseverance the backbone of sustainable success. Mindset plays a critical role in winning. Chapter 15 emphasizes that your thoughts, beliefs, and perceptions shape your actions, resilience, and ability to persist. A growth-oriented, positive, determined mindset enables you to view obstacles as opportunities, failures as lessons, and setbacks as temporary challenges rather than permanent roadblocks. Your mindset influences the quality of your focus, the consistency of your action, the strength of your perseverance. Winning requires cultivating a mindset that is adaptable, optimistic, and resilient, allowing you to maintain clarity of purpose and energy, even under pressure. Your full attention. Those who master their mindset are able to harness their thoughts and emotions as allies rather than being controlled by them, giving them an advantage in both strategy and execution. Mental clarity, emotional regulation, and confidence in your abilities are all products of a strong mindset. Chapter 15 also teaches that preparation is essential for winning. Success does not occur by accident. It is the result of deliberate planning, disciplined practice, and strategic execution. Preparation includes understanding your goals, developing the skills necessary to achieve them, anticipating challenges, and creating systems that support consistent progress. Those who prepare are able to respond effectively to unexpected obstacles, make informed decisions, and capitalize on opportunities that others overlook. Preparation transforms potential into capability, reduces uncertainty, and strengthens confidence. Every victory is built on a foundation of preparation, ensuring that when action is required, you are ready to perform at your highest level and maximize the impact of your efforts. Another critical element of winning discussed in Chapter 15 is learning and adaptability. Life is unpredictable, and no plan survives contact with reality perfectly intact. Those who win are those who continually learn from experience, refine their strategies, and adapt to changing circumstances. Learning includes seeking feedback, analyzing results, observing others, and applying lessons from mistakes. Adaptability ensures that obstacles do not derail progress, allowing you to pivot, adjust, and overcome challenges creatively. Those who resist learning and refuse to adapt are more likely to be stalled by setbacks. Those who embrace growth and flexibility are able to turn challenges into stepping stones. Winning is therefore not static, a dynamic process that requires continuous refinement, improvement, and evolution in response to both internal and external conditions. Consistency is also essential for achieving victory. Chapter 15 emphasizes that consistent action over time produces results that intermittent effort cannot match. High achievers are distinguished not by occasional bursts of effort, but by sustained, disciplined action over weeks, months, and years. Each small step taken consistently compounds into momentum, skill, and tangible progress. Consistency reinforces habits, strengthens discipline, ensures that effort aligns with long-term objectives. Even when motivation fades, those committed to winning continue to act, creating a pattern of reliability and progress that eventually produces extraordinary outcomes. Consistency is the engine that turns potential into reality, translating vision into measurable results. Accountability is another factor that contributes to winning. Chapter 15 teaches that taking full responsibility for your actions, decisions, and outcomes is essential. No one else can create your success or enforce your effort. It is your commitment, choices, and accountability that determine results. Being accountable means evaluating performance honestly, adjusting strategies when necessary, and refusing to blame circumstances, others, or external factors for setbacks. Accountability strengthens integrity, builds self-trust, and ensures that focus and action remain aligned with objectives. Those who embrace responsibility for their journey are empowered to make deliberate decisions, learn from mistakes, and maintain consistent effort, all of which are essential for achieving victory.